Welcome everyone, this is Inner Frequency episode 2. As you know, Desto154 is sitting right next to me. Dave, say hello, buddy.
Hey guys.
And this is Josh, coming back for episode 2. The way we left off episode 1 was a general outlook at, vibration, frequency, the changes, 2012, yada yada yada. This one we're getting into just basic level material knowledge about the world we live in, how we're affected vibrationally through our own behavior, through things we consume, and just other alternatives to getting higher vibrationally. So this episode is about addressing any manipulation, any things that we should be aware of, and then from there it allows us to explore the new vibrational frequency.
It's kind of like a stepping stone to the next episodes. This is kind of something that we kind of have to get out of the way, that probably a lot of you have heard already or are already in that context. They already have this information with them. So for those who do already know a lot about the manipulation in our society, then
this one isn't for you. Let's say maybe you've risen past that vibration to need to know this material. However, there's others out there that may find it useful. So let's just talk about it, and then this will trail nicely into our future episodes.
So I guess what we could start off with really is how about just water. Let's talk about water.
We're drinking it right here. Might as well talk about water. Well, our water supply, we live in a city, and we tap the sources, the lakes and whatnot, and it's treated, and it's this this nice system that we've created for ourselves. And there's debate as to what things we're drinking in our water, what's good for us, what's bad for us.
I would say specifically bottled water too is probably the main option to look like. It's not just about the water, but it's also about like what the water's being kept in and how it's being manufactured. Right?
It's different everywhere. And in Windsor, we have a great water source. Actually, our water treatment plant, like Windsor's water, is fantastic. However, there's different areas, like especially in the United States. There's so many cities that are. Fluoride is a thing of big concern when it comes to treating water. Because when we're talking about bottled water, the only thing we really have to be aware of is that the plastic within, the bottle itself actually gets into the water over time. But if you're buying natural spring water and bottled water sources, I'd say, you're going to get less fluoride ions there, and you're going to get a lot of natural minerals from that water. The more processed the water becomes, I feel it becomes less full of energy or chi or life force. And this guy actually brings into a great point. Dr. Emoto, I believe, Masaru Emoto, not sure if the name's right, I'll again find the link and then post it after, did experiments with water and wanted to see the structure of the water molecule.
Water feelings.
Yeah. People had thoughts and feelings at the water, and they generated...
People would generally concentrate their emotions into a water source, and then they were basically looked at under a microscope.
Yeah.
And the images that came out were absolutely amazing.
Yeah, and that's another thing that gets into cymatics, like how we brought that up, of how the resonating in sound frequencies changes the reality. This actually is the proof that not only sound waves, but thought waves, your emotional wavelengths, those are also permeating the reality. And that actually shows that, if our thoughts can change the crystalline structure within water into these beautiful sacred geometric patterns and mandalas, then it's doing that to our world on a daily basis.
To everything around us.
Other people.
Anything that's absorbent to our emotions.
Anything that has an electromagnetic force behind it, and everything does. Anything that is mass has even a table. You wouldn't think that a table has an aura, but that table does emit a frequency itself, and depending on the consciousness, what transpired, the emotions around that table, like the people that had conversations around the table, what that table was exposed to in its life, and in its usefulness, it actually projects something itself. But we're going to focus on people and not tables. So let's back up a little bit.
So I guess one of the, if you're talking about manipulation, I guess the main concern in a water source would be fluoride and watching out for bottled water, for different types of bottled waters.
Yeah.
Especially the big companies, you know.
Yeah,
Coke,
like Nestle,
Pepsi.
yeah, anything like that.
Mm-hmm.
Well, and we don't have to get into such nitty gritty conversation about the water bottles, but I mean, conversely, like, because you could look at experiments in Germany, you know, Nazi Germany, what the Gestapo were doing on the Jewish people. They were actually fluoridating the water supply. This is proven. This isn't, you know, conspiracy. This is fact. They were fluoridating the water supply to make the Jews more passive, less aggressive, and just more docile. And that's the effect it has on our brains. And that's why there's all this controversy now about fluoride. That's the main issue with water, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Because really, on another level, you could do some deep breathing and look at the sun and just soak it all in and get life force that way. So while there are things that, yes, kind of decrease our frequency, we have to know that, yeah, they're there, but there's other completely intangible sources of experience that we can tap into to raise our vibrational frequency. So I guess the next one to get into after water would be aspartame, Splenda, NutraSweet, all these, you know, these substances, these natural sweeteners, as like to call them, when they're really not natural at all, a bunch of chemicals, and messes up with your brain as well. And you know, that's funny that Rumsfeld actually headed whatever company, NutraSweet, whatever owns that. He headed that company in order to pass Splenda, or either Splenda or NutraSweet, I forget which company it was, but to pass it
some
through,
type of sweetener, anyways.
Well, yeah, I think NutraSweet was the original, to be honest. And he passed it through without FDA testing, and he just wanted it on the market because, you know, he made a lot of money off of it. And now if you think of how much of that is in our foods as well, like Jell-O, drinks,
aspartame is in absolutely
yogurt,
everything, especially things where you see low sugar or non-sugar or diet.
Yeah,
you know, those little gimmicks to try and
your
get
insecurities, fear. Oh no, I'll get the, you know, the thin crackers with the aspartame and frickin', I don't know, crazy sodium.
Cyanide poured on it.
Okay, this actually segues great into different preservatives and foods that we should be aware of. Anything that stays on a shelf for months and does not deteriorate or anything is not food in my mind. And I believe that through our own processing of food, and I mean, if you've seen something like Food Inc. and those type of documentaries where it just shows how the whole production system of food has been taken away from, you know, local farmers and being able to grow your own, and these huge companies just come in and just like scoop up everything. Monsanto says you have to grow it with these genetically modified seeds. You have to do this. You know, you're injecting your cows with these hormones in order to produce more. And then these companies, the big supermarkets, come and are able to sell it. But the thing is, it totally degrades the value of our food in the process. If we were to have like our own little gardens in the backyard, grow a few tomatoes, cucumbers, well, I mean, you can buy those that are okay. But a lot of the vegetables out there, if you look at like bell peppers, and Monsanto kind of manipulated a lot of those. I mean, strawberries are just, I don't know what they've done with those things. I get them and I feel like I'm eating like a mutant fruit.
What they've done with strawberries is injected some type of growth hormone into, like, elephant growth hormone. I mean, I just bought a little thing of strawberries from the grocery store last week, and there was a strawberry in it that was like half the size of my hand. I had to cut up into 4 different pieces just to eat it, and then, you know, and
there was like a little thing living inside of it too. It came out, "Hey, I'm a new consciousness, please."
There was green leaves growing on the other end of it. You know what I mean? Like,
yeah,
it was just not right.
Not natural at all. Yeah, there's a number of others. I mean, grapes have been tainted. The natural, beautiful, big, bold grapes that just comes off the vines are so nice. Anything that's, you can just taste it. Something's off. Something is wrong with this, you know, this produce, and it shouldn't be that way. I mean,
but at the same time, it's so addicting and good.
Yeah, I could see that, and
I want more of it.
Yeah, I hear you. And that's the thing. It's becoming aware of, you know, all the different things. We can eat well, and I mean, I still go to McDonald's every now and then. I like to eat Subway, but I mean, it's not you have to be like a fanatic about how you eat. It's just certain things that you become aware of, and then you can base your decisions off of that. And I mean, there's other things that we can get into beyond food. Yeah, let's go beyond food now. If we're thinking about our own wavelengths, like our brain waves, how we're projecting, because humans walking upon the earth are harmonically vibrating with the earth's frequency, the Schumann resonance. So while that's increasing, you know, ours is increasing as well. And monks have said to be able to live in a state of gamma brainwave consciousness, and they can maintain that. That is such a high state of consciousness. Predominantly humans were probably in alpha or beta state if we're really test intellectually through, that's through logic though. When you get into gamma, it's almost like transcendental. It bridges your hemispheres and causes, you know, more, I guess, spiritual experiences, more incredible experiences. I don't know really how to classify it. But a lot of things that we should be aware about is our brain wavelengths and how we are in each state in our life. So when you're looking at the spectrum, we have delta as being extremely low. That's when you're in, you know, passed out, like very low brain activity. You go up from that, you have theta. That's when you're sleeping, you're dreaming, so you have some conscious mind activity. Move up from there in the waking states, you're in alpha, you're kind of relaxed, you're tuning into something, you're reading. This is predominantly waking human consciousness, that state. Then when you get into beta, that's, you know, if you're writing an exam, say, or your mental acuity, it needs a lot of focus. Yeah, focus. And there's different, I mean, to reach different states and to be able to know what it feels like when you're in that state consciously, there's actually programs, like little meditations you can use that help your brain slip into those states. So there's things like relieve jet lag that you can use, or increase creativity, or different ones that help you sleep for insomniacs. You know, it'll put you down into that state. And these are tools that are coming out in the 21st century. That this is the tools of the Aquarian age. These are tools for people that are becoming aware of their environment and how they not only are affected by, but can affect their environment as well. And so with that, that natural flow that's happening, where Earth is increasing her vibrational frequency, and from the help with the sun, we're being affected as well. And so we're naturally going to start raising our frequency without having to do anything really consciously, if you think about it. But things to be aware of are your own technology. Basically, the technology that we use, the electronics, it affects the wavelengths, your aura. A lot of things like TVs are very low vibrational things.
I was going to say low frequency objects, like a lot of old technology and a lot of new technology. Yeah,
and that's why, because they anticipate this on a level. And I'm not saying it's a huge conspiracy, but it's this pull of worlds through a technological based society where we pretty much become like the Borg from Star Trek, or we unite within ourselves and realize our own biological technology. And I think that's the split. There's these two worlds that are pulling at each other right now. And for those that want to go on and explore your biological technology, I recommend staying away from long hours in front of a screen, not necessarily like a computer screen. Like I have my brightness on low, because even electronic lights, lamps, things that I love natural sunlight. Natural sunlight I'd like to be outside as much as possible, and I'm sure most people do. But when you start to increase your vibrational frequency, you become very sensitive to everything. So I turn the brightness down on my screens. I turn TVs off when they're not in use. I know my mom always leaves the TV on. She turns off the cable box and thinks it's off. And as soon as I walk in, I hear this right in my bones. For those that know your auric field, know where you feel it, you could feel it in your bones, and those are those lower vibrations. I mean, microwave, when you're microwaving food and reheating things, you're destroying the molecular structure of that food, and you're just exploding it. Basically, you're just nuking it the same way we nuke nations. But yeah, that's for another subject. But yeah, that's something that if you eat microwave food constantly, microwave dinners, frozen dinners, that's going to lower your vibrational frequency
Processed foods and canned foods are probably the worst thing you could be possibly eating if you want to excel at increasing your vibrational frequency.
Yeah, absolutely. Eat fresh, eat life force, eat chi. Like when you're eating an apple, you're eating life force. When you're eating greens, you're eating life force. When you're having a piece of steak, you're eating an animal which was alive, which is giving substance to you. You're eating life force. Once you start seeing the different amount of chi and prana in different foods, you start to gravitate to those foods. Like there's certain foods that are just so low frequency, so dense, so they can't go anywhere, that I literally, like, you'll start going through a transition where you can't process certain foods, and your body will let you know. Your body is much smarter than your egoic, linear-based mindset. And when you tune into your body and just listen to it, that's a higher intelligence. Your body intelligence is a holistic, more bridged hemisphere unity state of consciousness than solely your logical mind thinking and analyzing and trying to label the world in which it makes it more of a box than it already is. So moving on from the things that lower our frequency, we're going to segue into, were you going to say something there, Dave? Or is that 10 minutes? Okay,
that's 10 minutes. We'll cut this out.
Okay, right on. So that means we're 10 minutes
pause.
in. A little bit of pause right now.
Stand up for a second.
Yeah. Am I breaking your chair? I'll sit over here.
Breaking my fucking chair. Only Bree can sit on this chair because she can only handle the weight of it.
Yeah, I'm like close to 200 pounds. I don't think this thing can handle me. Here we go.
Stupid headset. Get over here. There we go.
Okie doke.
It's up here. That's disconnected. Yeah. All right.
Okay.
What were we talking about?
We were talking about frequency control. We wanted to move on because I'm going to talk about little things we can do to increase our vibrational frequency, just to offset this, avoid this, avoid that, avoid this. Because there are things on a daily basis that even while you are using this, I mean, I still watch TV. Rarely, like, I watch programming, like I download stuff, but I watch TV. I'm exposed to cell phone radiation, all the HARP towers. That's one thing we should get into.
One thing we should probably talk about is HARP.
Yeah, because their mission statement essentially is to observe, analyze the seismic and atmospheric activity within the Earth, and then be able to tell if an earthquake is impending, or if there's issues with the ozone layer. So what they do actually is they create this webbing in the ionosphere, which is the upper atmosphere, of this high frequency radio waves. But they are just radio waves too. So it creates this like webbing of frequency through our ionosphere, which is supposed to, patch up for all these holes in the atmosphere.
I noticed this spiral that you're doing with your hand.
Everything's a spiral. Everything's a spiral. Everything's fractal. We're made up of the golden mean. Everything has a Fibonacci sequence embedded within it. But yeah, and I'm Italian, so I do a lot of hand gestures. But anyway, moving on.
All right.
So HARP is affecting, while they are using this technology, and I mean, there's conspiracy out there that they're causing earthquakes, and personally, I won't get into that because that just brings up negative, lower vibrational frequency discussion. So, I mean, you can sort that out in your mind. Whether that's true to you or not doesn't really matter in the bigger scheme of things. But we do know that they are operating there in Alaska. It's in you can go to Google Earth, search HARP, H-A-A-R-P. It's High Active Auroral Research Program. And I think they also have another, I think there's one in Sweden, or Norway, actually.
Norway.
Yeah,
Norway
because
spiral.
For those that have seen the Norway spiral, there's, a HARP facility that's just, I think, a few miles east. I forget the exact location, but I remember reading an article, and a lot of speculation was that HAARP actually created this, what looks like a black hole. Okay, we're going to throw that up there too. The Norway spiral happened the end of 2009, December. Blew people's minds. It was around the same time that Obama got the, what was it, the Nobel Peace Prize. And which I feel is kind of like...
I don't really follow...
It's great timing, though. It's like, oh, crap, there's like a black hole opening up in the world, and people are all looking at that. Let's give Barack Obama the Nobel Peace Prize, and let's just direct attention somewhere else. That's pretty much how I viewed that scenario. But, yeah, so there's, you know, there's that talk, but really, HAARP does influence... Oops, muted myself. HAARP does influence our emotional and mental wavelengths. It touches our mental and emotional body. And right now, because they're so active, especially with the help of chemtrails, which are being placed all throughout North America, and I've seen many different colored ones, things that are not plain contrails, and I know that's being sprayed there under the basis that's going to help our atmosphere at the same time.
I don't know what those are.
Create this shedding.
Could you explain those to me?
Chemtrails.
Seems like a new topic for you.
All right.
Relatively new.
You haven't heard this before?
No.
Really?
Continue.
You've never... Oh, wow. Okay, so chemtrails are... okay. To sort out all the conspiracy stuff and talk...
Well, this is a manipulation
this,
episode, so...
Yeah. To sort all that out before I start discussing what they are, many people believe that chemtrails are like this, you know, huge thing that the... It is a big subject. However, I don't believe it's a conspiracy that these pilots knowingly spray this, you know, these poisons and toxins into our atmosphere, knowing that they're causing this harm. I believe it's orchestrated on such a level that, you know, a company, you know, it sort of comes into these planes and installs something, and the guy doesn't really know what it is, but he's being told on a higher level in this, you know, that this is going to help with whatever, and just, you know, this he's probably is not even aware of it, the difference it's making.
Okay.
I mean, think about it. You're a pilot. Are you going to worry about, you know, what the governmental officials and all these, you know,
no, you just go
corporations
with the flow.
That you just go with the flow. I mean, it's the system. It's what's brought to you, and that's what I'm saying. It shouldn't be looked at as like, oh, everything's evil, the world is corrupt, yada yada yada. It shouldn't be looked at that way. It should be looked at.
So
what it is, I'll explain what it is.
That
people are led to. Well, I just feel that it gets people off on a negative. They start looking into conspiracy too much, and then that's not a healthy avenue to go. It's one thing to be aware of it. It's another thing to obsess and to lower your frequency through needing to tell everyone this information, which will, in sense, they won't be ready for it, and it'll just lower their frequency. So you have to come about it in a intelligent manner. Like, you don't just bombard people with bad news. You know, approach it like what you're walking on eggshells, I guess, but you're aware of it and you know how to probe. So I guess what it essentially is, okay, a contrail is the normal jet fuel that's passed into the air when it goes by, and you'll see it. It's just like a little trail and it just dissipates. Chemtrails, however, have been actually, we'll throw up some links there too. They've been known to, once they're sprayed in the air after the plane goes by, it's like this really like long trail that just stays in the air. It doesn't go anywhere. I've seen some from like one end of the atmosphere to the next. It just wipes out. I've seen like so many patterns, like crisscross chemtrails, and what they are, a man in Arkansas, I believe, started putting jars out because he started seeing these things being sprayed right above his house, and he started reacting, started getting like really bad asthma, and all these things started acting up. So he put jars out in the backyard to you know, trap whatever may be spraying or falling in. And what he noticed, you know, he had to some testing done in a lab. He noticed that there were trails of all these, I don't even remember what they were exactly. Arsenic, I believe, was one of them. Harmful metals, different toxins, like chemical-based toxins.
Sounds like a lot of the stuff that's in our plastic bottles.
A lot of the stuff that's in the plastic bottles.
Arsenic, by the way, has been found in plastic bottles.
Oh yeah, I didn't know that. Mm-hmm. Yeah, most likely. I mean, there are really harsh ones though, and there's a few links. I'm sure people can find it if they really want to look for it. But that's something we should be aware of. If you're noticing, like, why is it so hazy? Why can't I see the sun? Have you ever seen, like, a natural clear sky? I was just saying, today actually looks like a nice clear sky. There's beautiful clouds, nice clear open sky. There's none of this haze and, like, it's funny, if you actually start to look at the sky on a regular basis, appreciate what the clouds look like, you know, the cumulonimbus, like different ones, you'll notice that this chemtrail, like this haze that's created, yeah, it's a change in temperatures, but it's all this pollution that's coming out as well. And that's the big thing for the people that sun gaze out there and the people that love to soak up the sun's energy. Chemtrails are the worst. It's a big buzzkill. I mean, you go out there to connect with the sun, and all of a sudden you see like this. I saw a yellow and blue, like the yellow was above it and the blue one was like right below it. Just a single gigantic chemtrail. It just spanned across my backyard. I'm just like, are you kidding me? Came out here to do some yoga. Breathe in deeply. Spell the fear and toxins.
Am I gonna do outside yoga with this on my face?
With this, yeah. What's going on here? You know, and so yeah, once you become aware of it on like a daily basis and how, you know, how it does affect our mode of life, it's funny to think about it, but it's better to just move beyond the analyzing and thinking and go into feeling. Feeling is where it takes off.
They're gonna get me kind of feeling.
Yeah, we need to drop that. This whole, and that's why it's in movies. I mean, there's always that crazy conspiracy nut in a movie. I mean,
they want to get you hooked.
Yeah,
they want to get you hooked on it.
They do. As long as you're paying attention to it and you're fixated on it and you're giving your energy towards it, then they're winning. And that's all it is. They want your attention. They want you to feel like they're important and they're big brother. And this is, you know, they just want your mind, soul, and body, like Tupac says, the Illuminati. So all it takes is just a shift in consciousness and become aware of these things, but don't fall prey to judgment and don't fall prey to fear. That's ultimately what we want to talk about when we talk about manipulation. Now, when we're getting into this kind of talk, this is where we can get into the human collective mind and also what exists within the collective consciousness. Because personally, I believe that we are all tapped into a collective conscious mind, and that the thoughts and the thoughts that we have are all a part of this web. So as more and more people are awakening, the more this conscious field becomes higher and higher frequency thought forms that are produced into it, and it becomes more accessible to the rest of humans. So a lot of things that are holding this collective mind back are ideas of separation, of us and them, of national borders, of political borders, of familial borders, like social class borders, what breaks it, Romeo and Juliet, that whole thing. These are archetypes, thought forms that are being cleared so that the newer, higher ones can reside. And a big one is religion. We're going to get into that because I'm not saying...
Is that going to be our next episode?
How long has this been? I don't even know.
We're just about out of time.
Really? Okay. Well, the way I want to segue... I'll talk about religion for the next one and then how it segues into our own personal spirituality, because there is good to religion. I'm not saying... people do have a spiritual bond when they connect through religion, but there are those that I feel that maybe are just reliving dogmas and doctrines and aren't feeling something spiritual for themselves. Mm-hmm. And I think
that's probably my biggest concern with religion is the people who are in it not for the spiritual aspect of it.
Yeah. And I know it affects people that, it's kind of this, taboo subject that you don't talk about. And you can tell, though, I can tell, talking to someone just through eye contact. That's spiritual right there. If you can look someone in the eyes and talk to them and know what they're about, that's a spiritual connection, a spiritual bond. And people have all types of different spiritual abilities, experiences, what they feel connects them with the source, God, whatever you want to call it. Labelless spirituality, because religion is a label. That's what it is, because religion just takes spirituality and throws ego all over it.
Yeah.
And it expects it to conform within that box, and that's when you create these holy wars. So that's going to get into the second episode, or the third episode.
I would love to talk about religion for the third episode. So,
all right. And then we'll get the awakening coming after that. I mean, we got plenty of episodes ahead. Whatever. We'll just keep it short.
Anyways, guys, thanks for listening on our second episode. Sorry it was delayed quite a bit. Hopefully we will have these up on a regular basis. So stay tuned. We'll catch you guys later.
Peace be with you.